Welcome back to the episode of my trading vlog, where most of the views come from returning subscribers. If that's you, I'd appreciate a like. If not, consider subscribing. There's a reason why people come back, because, well, generally I'm right most of the time, and I hate to say that, but it's true. After all, today we're seeing a rise in SPY as I forecasted on Friday. If you watched that video, excellent. If not, go back and watch it. I'm gonna go in here on SPY, AMC, and GameStop. I have to do the show live today because the serial number on my editing software is locked because the last payment didn't go through. Whoops. And so here I am trying to make the show live. I'm gonna have to edit out the beginning there a little bit. If you're tuning in, I'm not gonna be watching the comments. I'm just gonna be going through the tickers, starting with SPY today. We are seeing that bounce that I forecasted on Friday in a clean ABC wave, and I've gone ahead and actually updated my Elliott wave count, which I do frequently. I think it's important to do that. It's not necessarily a knock on Elliott wave analysis. It's just important to be open-minded, flexible, and quick, nimble in the market. We are currently pushing at 450, major level of resistance here. We found that bounce from Friday's low through pre-market, and then after today's dump, we found a low and pushed higher. This is what I was calling for on Friday. Nonetheless, today, as we came up to about 450, I entered into another XPXU call and a couple other positions, and I don't know where I'm going to share those. Maybe I'll just post them on Twitter or something like that. Follow me on Twitter if you're not doing that already. So let's talk about this. What's going on? It looks like we could see a little push higher in SPY, but I doubt it. It's very possible that we're going to see some sort of pennant form through here, and if we do, we need to watch the breakout very carefully, because if we get an upward breakout, this could easily be wave 4 of a motive wave extension. But I'm more comfortable calling this waves A, B, and C, peaking out towards 450, and now we're ready to head lower. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to get an idea of what's going on a larger time frame. Here we go. I haven't shown in the yellow lines what appears to be a leading diagonal triangle. And the reason why I characterize it that way is because there's an overlap between waves 1 and 4 occurring over that 452.11 level. And we have an alternating form between opposing trendline touches between motive and corrective. And that's characterized by 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can count it that way if you want. But here I've got 1 at the minute degree, 2 at the minute degree, 3 at the minute degree, 4 at the minute degree, and then 5 coming in here. I suppose what we're actually going to be doing, though, is starting a wave extension of one of these third waves. I'm not exactly sure which one of those waves it's going to be, but typically when it does start to happen this way, I just start labeling 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and start looking for the alternating forms between waves 2 and 4 of those extensions throughout the motive waves to figure out where the bottom's going to be. Right now, I'm speculating that we're going to be coming down to about 439.83 or 443.86. Before we see a reactionary wave higher. This is a leading diagonal triangle, not a falling wedge, I believe, and we're going to be watching this rally that we've seen form today fizzle and die in short order. Kind of looks cool. I don't know. Looks like kind of like a kite almost. You see that? Maybe I can draw a kite through here. Well, never mind. Okay, SPY. Let's go to AMC. See what's going on here. I haven't looked at AMC today. We pushed up a little bit. We reached the corrective target at $5.19 after passing past 508. So this was a bullish continuation level, but I think we're just finishing wave C. I say that because of the gradual rise here. This doesn't look super motive. It looks kind of corrective, doesn't it? Just in nature, there's a lot of price overlap here. Getting a motive wave count is going to be very difficult. It's probably some sort of ABC wave extension where a single wave C is actually making most of this progress. And it's possible that that's actually occurring in some sort of ascending broadening wedge, which we should watch the breakout of, because in wave C we actually may get an ascending broadening wedge, in which case if we get the downward breakout, we'll be targeting the beginning of the pattern towards 480. That hasn't happened yet, and really it looks like we're still just grinding sideways here. It's going really slow in AMC. That's going to be the daily update for a while, I'm afraid. You can see that the RSI on this time frame has reached overbought at the peak there of wave C. That's pretty typical to hit overbought, oversold just once at the end of motive waves in corrective trends. That is to say, waves A and C typically only do that once if you're looking at a time frame which shows the higher degree, which here it does. If I zoom into the 1 minute, of course, you're going to see overbought a couple of times through here. That's very common. So be sure that you have your Elliott wave degrees and your time frames correlated correctly, or you're going to have a bad time. Let's move on from AMC and let's go take a peek at APE. I like to peek at APE. I don't really follow it that closely. We broke down below a bearish reversal level at 177, which indicates to me we could probably find more downside, and we won't find a reversal of that until we can get past probably all the way up here at 195. So looking for more sideways action to downside action here in AMC. I know that we have earnings coming up soon. Watch those carefully. And as awesome as it is that Barbie is making record-breaking box office money, that won't be shown in earnings for a while. We should see some incredible volatility, I believe, when earnings hit. It's hard to say if that's going to push the price up or down at this point. I know AMC is doing better than they have, but I still suspect that they're burning through their cash. After all, Adam Aaron is saying they have an existential crisis in the need to sell equity, which they are having a hard time doing at the moment. So overall, I think we're going to have a volatility spike in APE and AMC, and what's going to be most important to watch is the volume beyond anything else. Watch the volume. Again, I am neutral to bearish here. Let's go to GME and have an update there. We've got a bounce off of bearish continuation at 2083. Going sideways, just frustrating stuff, right? The price here, I mean, really, you got to think that AMC and GameStop are faring better than the rest of the market as the rest of the market's coming down. And let's just talk about that. Let's go look at some of these big stocks that are just tumbling. Apple is one of them. APPL is wrong. AAPL is right. Boom, huge dump. The last update I did here, I was speculating that if we found the bottom of this impulse then, and we haven't found the bottom of the impulse, it just continues to plummet, which is incredible, really. It really is incredible. I'm not even going to be able to guess where it's going to end at this point. I see the RSI here is oversold a couple of times. There's a lot of bullish divergence. We've got volume coming in. Implied volatility is starting to come down. So we should be able to see a bounce here, at least a sideways grind. A consolidation now makes sense. Of course, the lower we go here, lower the potential price target goes. And it's hard to say where we're actually going to get a retracement to through here. It's possible that this is wave 1, 2, and this is all 3, in which case I'll be looking for a retracement into probably the second wave of the wave that extended, which is somewhere up here at 190. We could get a pretty big bounce here, but for the time being, I wouldn't be expecting that. Looking for a sideways grind. If I zoom out to the hourly time frame, let's see here. If we can find an important level of support and resistance, then that would be great. We could use that perhaps. I mean, that's where that is, at 187. What a tumble. Jeez. Let's go look at Tesla, see if Tesla is faring any better. Tesla broke down out of a pennant, which could easily be wave B in a measured move down, in which case we're looking for a move at least as great as wave A after breakout, which brings us to 230.88. I said on Friday I'm expecting a test of this uptrend. It's not uncommon to see the price make a breakout like this and then come back up and test the trend line of that pattern. This is called a pullback, and there's seriously like a 60 to 65% chance of this occurring after you have a breakout in either direction. And so it's very important to be nimble and be ready for those things. When we get a new low beyond 245, then we're going to get the confirmation of wave C, and we'll be looking for these lower targets, which could really come down here. So Tesla and Apple are looking poor. Let's go over and look at Facebook really quickly. I don't take a lot of time on Facebook. This stock is still climbing, not having nearly as hard of a time as these other tech companies. Look at this. This is just crazy. This is the daily chart. I mean, I remember I was very bearish back here. I said it during a live, and I actually had to I should have held that. That would have been really good. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA as well. I've been following NVIDIA, saying we're calling for a top, and we've pretty much had that. We're coming back up a little bit, it looks like, zooming in here. Yeah, here we go. Sideways grind. Choppy, 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 choppy. It's very choppy in the tech sector currently. AMD grinding sideways, which is exactly what I've been thinking is going to happen. I pull up my Elliott wave count, and it's like, yeah, because we're finishing a bunch of motive wave extensions. So a bunch of 4 and 5 waves is going to give us the alternating motive corrective form, and we're going to see that probably in a converging trend line because every wave that is completing is of a smaller degree. And so I'm going to be looking for a tightening or restricting range, and we're starting to get that. Maybe I should even move on from here. I haven't changed this drawing for a long time, and I'm just conceptualizing when I draw, you know, the time frames, everything. I'm not even looking at that. I'm just putting lines on a chart. So let's go ahead and take a moment here and just pull this down. And this comes into focus really well that we do have some sort of overhead downtrend and some horizontal level support and resistance towards 107. And now we get a really clear picture. Yes, we are getting that converging price action. All right, what's left? Did I miss anything? I probably did. If I turn on the chat, I could probably, you guys probably might say something, but I'm like just moving through here, just cruising. It's 12:54. I thought I'd be taking all the way up to close. I want to see close today while I'm live making the video. Oh, there was something else I wanted to look at. PHLX. This is oh, the dollar first. Let's go to the dollar. Dixie today coming down, which makes sense. I was doing some analysis here. There was a request for it, and I made the video, but then I suddenly couldn't edit the video, and so I can't upload it as the file that I record in. Annoying. Anyway, I believe what we're actually looking here is a leading diagonal triangle, not a rising wedge, but a leading diagonal triangle, which is bullish here because it's in wave position 1 or a motive position. And when we see this, we can expect more upside. We're currently in a corrective phase, I believe. If we get a bullish breakout above 102, the price target's way up here at 104.89, and there's a downtrend coming through here. I would expect that we could find ourselves in a horizontal triangle, or, well, you could call it a quote broadening top, in which case it's just a reverse triangle. But really, I think that we're going to be looking for something like this before we break out higher. This may be related to the inflation report, if we're going to be anticipating that rates will continue to rise, if monetary policy will continue to tighten, and that will strengthen the dollar. It's very possible. It's very, very possible. When I zoom out on a much larger time frame, you can see that we're kind of grinding sideways, and it's very possible that this low we set down here was actually part of a wave B here on the minute degree, which is such a fake out, because that new low typically tends to confirm progression because you've closed beyond the previous impulse wave, right? But you have to be careful, because if it's part of wave B, then it's probably a bull or a bear trap. Here it looks like it was a bear trap. We've got the RSI reaching to oversold just once. No divergence there, but a swing pattern, definitely a W. And the price is now bouncing higher in a motive waveform. Again, this is probably wave A, B, and wave C will come all the way up here and test this downtrend, and this will be very bearish on the equities. Let's go look at QQQ very quickly. Market's closing in 3 minutes from now. QQQ coming down off of the highs that we were finding earlier in July, about mid-month, and we've broken an uptrend. We've set a new low. Do you see that? Let me go ahead and just make this a little clear. We have an uptrend that has broken, and when we break trends, we're looking for a 3-pattern process to confirm that trend reversal. This is exactly what it is. You have the push through the trend line, and then a new low set. Let's see here. This actually happened over here, right? Let's use this low, that high, test, bounce, new low. Okay, this looks pretty good. In which case, what's our target? Let's go ahead and just drop an extension tool down. Looks like if it's going to be an A, B, and C wave. We've got 373. If we don't make a new low, then this could be grindy, choppy. If we get the extension to 367.43, we'll be looking for a back test at 375 in the future. This is going to get really grindy. It's going to be really unpleasant. But, I mean, look at this wave. This thing is so steep. This is really the trend line you want to wait to see break if you're super bearish. You really want to wait for this thing. We could very likely see some sort of head and shoulder top form through here with a double top, or 2 heads, I should say. Double top, 2 heads, you know, it's all the same. When you're doing the chart pattern analysis, you're really just identifying the ends of motive waves anyway, typically. But this trend has been very sharp, very steep, led by the tech sector, and we're starting to see some weakness there. That could lead to a larger correction here in QQQ, at least bringing us down for a while, and perhaps even down to 322. But we're going to have to see these downward breaks first. I just don't really see the market pushing up forever. I really don't. In the very least, we go sideways before we push up one more time and then correct. It's really just a question of when the correction comes. It's not a question of if it's going to correct. It's when. And then when, how far. Let's go look at GLD too. GLD and SLV are doing weird things in pre-market. Look at this. Yesterday, we had this big, massive spike in GLD. Look at this thing. It's huge. Like, what is this? I mean, it was seriously like 2 or 3%. 3%. 3% spiked up and down in like 2 or 3 minutes. It blew my mind away. Like, what is that even doing? And SPY did something similar, actually. But today, we're seeing the price just move sideways. Move sideways. There's going to be pressure from the dollar, obviously. But it may be that flight to safety drives gold up with the dollar. You can start to see the beginning of what may be an inverted head and shoulder pattern through here. I've really got to get a better wave count going. I mean, it makes sense that we're looking at inverted head and shoulder through here. It's very possible, especially through here. And long term, I'm always super bullish on gold. I really am. I mean, you look at the chart in this context, it makes sense. There's the bell. Let's go peek at SPY. That's all I wanted to do, was see what the close was going to be on SPY and then take a peek at SPXU. SPY tends to have a surge of volume towards the end of the day, sending the price higher here. There it is. Silly SPY. That's okay. Let's see. What do we got? 450.71. Volume coming in strong there. Reaching overbought in the RSI. Probably the last time if we're going to see a continuation downward. We're going to be watching for data coming out. I think it's on Wednesday. I think that's when CPI data comes out. Let's check out SPXU. SPXU coming down. Yes. Zooming out to the hourly time frame here to get a better idea of what's going on here. Very possible that we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4. Wave 4 maybe. Yep. And 5. Looking for an A, B, C correction. We may get a pop up in SPXU or down in SPY for B. But really, we're just forecasting sideways grind through here. Again, I'm just going to like draw a triangle because that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense here. And that would get us to 1078 probably later this week. I imagine that tomorrow is going to be a pretty quiet day as well. And then on Wednesday, when we get CPI news, that's